What does toothpaste and air freshener have to do with habits? Well, apparently a lot. It's time to jump into Chapter 2 of The Power of Habit. Hello, my name's Tony. I have to lose weight, and this is my vlog. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of working on our mind. Happy Friday. We spent Monday, we weighed in, we took a look at that, we got in the pool and we exercised on Wednesday, and now it's Friday, Chapter 2 of The Power of Habit, and I love it when authors do this. Big nugget from Chapter 2, they make it really obvious toward the end of the chapter. It's on page 59. I'll leave it right here on the screen. We'll look at it during this video. Cravings are what drives habits, and figuring out how to spark a craving makes creating a new habit easier. That's the nugget. And they go a long way to unpack that nugget. They start out with the story of Pepsodent toothpaste and how the whiz-bang advertiser from the early 1900s, how he went about selling Pepsodent toothpaste. Now, if we remember the habit loop from last week, it talks about to form a habit, you have to have a cue, you have to have a routine, and you have to have a reward. And so that seems like that would have been okay on its own, but in this chapter they want to talk about how cravings work in relationship to that, and they do use Pepsodent and Febreze as the story to tell it. I'll give you the quick synopsis of the Pepsodent story. Whiz-bang advertiser guy wants to sell toothpaste in a time where most people didn't brush their teeth. That seems odd to us in this day and age, but there was a time where people's teeth were rotten out and nobody really wanted to brush their teeth, and you could tell them it would be good for them to brush their teeth, but they never got it. What he did is he studied these dental journals, he looked at other advertisements, and he noticed everybody talking about that film that's on your teeth every day. And he used the simple phrase, run your tongue across your teeth. Do you feel that film? And basically he associated that film with being dirty, that film with being unclean, that film with being less than beautiful, and made the suggestion that if you use the Pepsodent, you could remove that film and you could be beautiful again. Reality is, you can remove that film with your tongue. You could eat an apple, they said. You could swish water in your mouth. It's just a natural occurring thing that appears on your teeth. It doesn't mean you're less beautiful, but he convinced the masses that that was the case. At least this is what the whiz-bang advertiser guy thought that he had done to make people buy toothpaste, but it took close to 70 years and some more research later at MIT with monkeys that maybe reveal a different reason why the Pepsodent went so well. Let me tell you about the monkeys. The whiz-bangs at MIT, they figured out how to put a little sensor in the monkey brain. We had the rat brain last week, and again, they wanted to see the brain waves of these monkeys when they were in the habit loop. And what they did for them is they put little objects on the screen, the monkey's looking at it, and when the monkey would pull the lever, a little bit of blackberry juice would come down into the monkey's mouth. So the monkey liked the blackberry juice, and they watched the brain waves, and in the beginning, as the pictures would go on the screen, they would pull the lever, and then there would be a big spike of brain activity when the juice hit the monkey's mouth. So they realized that the monkey got pleasure out of the blackberry juice. But what was interesting is as they continued the experiment, the monkey would get that big endorphin spike, that big excitement spike, even before the juice hit his mouth. And what the researchers began to understand is that the monkey was craving the juice, that the brain would give the monkey the reaction as if he got the juice prior to getting the juice, and the craving is what becomes the motivator. Fast forward a little bit to when Febreze was created, discovered. There's so much detail in this chapter, you got to make sure that you read it because it's fascinating. But the synopsis on the Febreze is some dude accidentally figured out how to make a compound that removed the smell of smoke from his clothes. Odorless liquid Febreze could take the smell of smoke out of the clothes. It was a revolutionary breakthrough. There's a touching story about a forest ranger who smelled like a skunk, that Febreze changed her life, got her a boyfriend, and they thought this is the best thing since sliced bread. They went to to sell the Febreze and nobody bought it. And they brought in all these other smart whiz bangs, all these PhDs from Harvard, and they couldn't figure out why nobody wanted to use Febreze. Well, through the research, they realized that a lot of times when people have smells, they get used to them. Like cat people don't smell cats anymore. And the Febreze didn't really do anything for the people with odors because they would have to admit that they smelled, or maybe they didn't smell anything. But interestingly, they started videotaping people as they cleaned their house, and they picked up on this idea that once the cleaning was finished, the person that was doing the cleaning would often smile. And so this indicated that there was some sort of satisfaction that occurred when people finished up their cleaning task. And so the challenge for them became, how do you leverage Febreze in that process? They added some smell, they added some perfume to Febreze, and then they marketed Febreze as something that you do as you finish your cleaning process. And so you make up your bed, you clean up your whole bedroom, then you spray a little smelly Febreze on top of the old comforter, and then you have that smiling moment. And what happened is more people began to spray that Febreze at the end of their cleaning process. That became a craving for them. Cleaning wasn't done until they got the smell of Febreze, and that's why Febreze really took off. So toothpaste and Febreze and monkeys, what does it have to do with craving? And for us, what does it have to do with getting healthy? Well, the interesting thing when it comes to the power of habit is one of the ways that we tweak our routines is that we can tweak our cravings. If we can build into our routine a craving that is beneficial, then we'll be more likely to push away temptations as we focus on the craving. An interesting section here off of page 58. Want to craft a new eating habit? When researchers affiliated with the National Weight Control Registry, a project involving more than 6,000 people who have lost more than 30 pounds, looked at the habits of successful dieters, they found that 78% of them ate breakfast every morning, a meal cued by time of day. But most of the successful dieters also envisioned a specific reward for sticking with their diet, a bikini they wanted to wear, or the sense of pride they felt when they stepped on the scale each day, something they chose carefully and really wanted. They focused on craving for the reward when temptations arose, cultivated the craving into a mild obsession, and their cravings for that reward, researchers found, crowded out the temptation to drop the diet. The craving drove the habit loop. One more thing about the Pepsodent, it wasn't because people wanted to be more beautiful. It was because they craved the tingly feeling in their mouth after they brushed their teeth. This was the big summation. Looking back down the tunnel of history, there are chemicals in toothpaste to make your tongue feel a certain way that have no benefit in the toothpaste other than making your tongue feel that way. And it's all about the craving. We brush our teeth for that tingling sensation. There's no good reason for shampoo to lather up the way that it does, but we're used to that foaming sensation. This is why it's like that. And so, again, the craving can drive out the temptation. This was the big nugget for me. So many of my rewards are food, and so many of my cravings are food. So the goal going forward is to replace those food cravings with something more obsessive. Again, I mentioned it in an earlier video. I would like to go and travel to Spain, but I have to lose weight to do that. Somehow I have to make that craving to go to Spain more significant than my craving for my next fatty meal. I think that's the challenge, and I know the book's going to continue to build on this and tell us how to do it. But again, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I know that there's food that I can think about that I have that endorphin rush before I even get the food. And another thing that I've done before in my past, I've been a little obsessive compulsive about collecting things, collecting comic books, collecting collectible figures, those kind of things. And I know the interesting thing in that cycle is the anticipation of the buying is often more satisfying than the actual buying. So it really makes sense to me how how, cravings drive the habit loop. Comic Book Wednesday. If I knew there were new comic books out on Monday, on Tuesday, I would be anticipating, I would be thinking about going to the comic book shop, buying the new comics, and I would peak with this craving to go get my new comics. And then I would go get the comics and I would have them, and I wouldn't have that same level of satisfaction as I did with the anticipation. It was the craving that drove the habit. And I can see that in a lot of places in my life. So this is powerful stuff. I think make sure that you read chapter 2 and maybe identify some of those areas that you have cravings that you don't even realize, like the toothpaste and the shampoo. Those were eye openers for me. I'd love to hear what your cravings are. What are some things that drive your habit loop? Is this making sense to you? Are you tracking along with me? Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Power of Habit, man. This is a great book. Thanks again, Karen. You know who you are out there. You were right. It's a great recommendation. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you have a great weekend. My name's Tony. I have to lose weight, and this is my vlog. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you on Monday. We got to weigh in. Bye.